Man, I haven't done one of these videos in a minute. Well, it feels like I haven't. I actually have. So I'm gonna be doing a video series, video set of topics, whatever you want to call it. I don't know. Baby monitor. Called Lost Rambles. It's just me talking into a camera because I love to hear myself talk. So we'll start that off by saying that's what this is. It's just me talking. Probably no factual evidence to anything that I say. Am I too dark? I feel like I'm really dark with the really light backdrop. I'm gonna try and quit saying so much as well. Not gonna be a lot of actual evidence. Some of it might be, some of it not. The other day I was listening to the Fingerboarding podcast, the one that Plies does, not the finger space one or Mike's. And the gentlemen on there were talking about how we're in the golden age of fingerboarding. And I don't come from the original golden age, golden era. I don't come from the original era of fingerboarding. I'm not from the 2000s, the late 90s. I was born in 2000. So for me, much of the exposure that fingerboarding had when it exploded, way past me. I didn't get to see a whole lot of it. I remember when I was like 10, 11, 12, still watching those tech deck contest videos online where I think Tony Hawk announced the winners and all that, and that was, I think, as big as I remember it getting personally. Obviously, Flatface, Black River, all those guys were still around and still growing, but I don't think I realized that at the time. And I don't think fingerboarding as what it is now and as its own subculture was as big. I think there were potentially more fingerboarders then because there was more public exposure for it, like the Coca-Cola thing, the X Games stuff, Tech Deck being big and new. But in terms of events and companies and the culture that it is now, I personally don't feel like it was as big then. But maybe I didn't know what I was looking at. So, I heard them say we're in the golden age of fingerboarding. And growing up, a little bit past what I perceived was the golden age, the early 2000s, when I heard that, I kind of reeled back. I was confused by why they would say something like that. And so I started thinking about it, and I started talking to people. Specifically, what made me want to make this video was I was talking to Pipsqueak Wheels, and we were having a conversation on how people my age and younger will, specifically younger, will have nostalgia for a time period we were never in. I'm 24. I was born in 2000. I don't know anything about the golden age of skateboarding. You know? The 90s, Tony Hawk did his 900 a year before I was born. Right? The 95 to 2000, whenever, 7, 8, whenever people consider the golden age of skating, at most I was 8 years old. Right? Hadn't even started skating yet. Maybe I'd seen Zeke and Luther. And that was essentially, not exactly, but somewhere around the 25-year mark of true skateboarding. If you look at, say, 1975, right, to 2000, 25 years of skateboarding. It's not when it started. Obviously, it wasn't the end of the golden age. But you had shaped boards come into fishtail boards, come into semi-popsicle into popsicle boards. You had wheels go from a pretty crappy urethane to better urethane to an even better urethane. Trucks, the same way. You had this evolution of technology, and along with it an evolution of what tricks were possible. Grip tape was added, kicktails were added, trucks were able to turn. They got rid of plastic base plates. And so in that 25 years of technological advancements in skateboarding, you had a skill advancement and you had the cultural advancement. And the reason I bring that up is because if you look at the timeline between the 1970s and 2000 in terms of skateboarding, fingerboarding is in its golden era, as people would have deemed the 90s a golden era. Look at the parallels. We started on 26 millimeter boards. They started on their banana boards. It's not a one-to-one. Then, years later, we went up to bigger boards, right? Slimline the popsicle. Everybody was using it. Same thing that happened in the 80s and the 90s. We had shape evolution. It's not a one-for-one comparison. Look at the trucks from back then. We had the tech deck trucks that didn't turn. Now we have custom truck companies, right? Caramel, Dynamic, Black River. Wheel companies. And in the 80s, 70s, 80s, and early 90s, you predominantly had monopolies on skateboarding. I don't think I said that correctly. Powell Peralta, Santa Cruz, Hosoi, 8th Street, maybe, right? The big ones, Santa Cruz and Powell Peralta. Indies and Tracker, right? The 90s, you had, early 90s, you had World Industries and you had Vision, right? And that ties into, for me, the big three of fingerboarding. Black River, Berlinwood, and Flatface. You have the big three in the original. Tech Deck's there. Tech Deck, I don't know how you count them, right? Again, it's not a one-for-one. Years and years go by, you have other companies that look at what the big three is doing, look at what the big two's doing, not exactly the big two, and the secrets start getting out on how to make boards, how to make trucks, how to make wheels, how to make better products or products of equal quality, but with the image that you want or the idea that you want. And so in the same way that skateboarding has went from a monopoly on a couple companies to the 2000s having hundreds of companies, hundreds of pros, lots of big truck companies, tons of wheel companies popping up, you have that in fingerboarding. We don't have just Black River trucks and Yellowwood trucks anymore. We have Black River, Dynamic, Caramel, AUG, UAG, SB trucks, Yellowwood's still around, Black River's still around, China trucks. So you have an evolution in the same way that we had in skateboarding. And I just think it's an interesting topic because what do you call that initial boom of fingerboarding? What is that? Because if it's not the golden era, which I don't know if it is anymore, because yeah, you had Coca-Cola here, you had Tech Deck, you had these companies, but now we got Yahoo and Tech Deck, and now we've got Storefront, Slush Cult, Six Skates, this, Soldier Barrier. You've got the Black River store in America. I don't want to say we didn't, but it wasn't as prevalent then. And if that's your benchmark, okay, great. Is the amount of companies your benchmark for what the golden era is, right? Is the amount of involvement, outside involvement? Is it the amount of content being produced? Is it the vibes that people get? I don't know. But it's an interesting topic, and it got me wanting to sit out here and think and talk to the camera, which doesn't mean much. So it's just an interesting timeline and an interesting era that we're in right now, because I start to agree with him in that when you look at the totality of fingerboarding now and where fingerboarding or skateboarding, was in its golden era, we have a lot of parallels that we didn't have years ago. Now we have a magazine, right? We have somebody who's trying to do video mags. We have people that are starting their own companies, leaving big companies, doing this and that. You have events everywhere, just like you had demos and contests everywhere, 20, 25 years ago. It's just an interesting conversation. I'm probably the only one who's actually legitimately having it next to the Fingerboard League. But, it is what it is. I just wanted to get my thoughts out before I forgot them. Big shout out to the Fingerboard podcast, the League, Plies Magazine, everything you're doing. I think you guys are pushing fingerboarding further. Sometimes I don't always agree with some of the stuff that you say on your podcast. That's okay. Other times like this, it gets me thinking and kind of gets my mind moving in a different way. Well, there was a wasp flying around me over here. Big shout out to Pipsqueak Wheels. I know you and I had this conversation over DM a little while ago about nostalgia and clothes and all that. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you want me to do more episodes like this, or you just want me to shut up, just tell me, and I'll keep talking regardless of what you say. So, I'll see you next time.